The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiamen. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the newer Transformers figures, that being the Transformers Studio Series 86 Core Class, Wheelie. This is one of those figures that I wish was included in the packaging for the Studio Series 86 Grimlock, but unfortunately we got that static piece of garbage, and so now we had to buy an extra figure to actually emulate that scene in the movie with Wheelie and Grimlock in it. That being said, this is not the worst figure to actually have to pick up as an accessory piece to the original. So taking a quick look at the packaging here, it is extremely small. As you can see, I don't even need to zoom out to take a complete look at it. We do have a nice little backdrop of, I think it's the Quintessence layer inside here. I'm not quite sure of the actual backdrop this is. I think it is the Quintessence layer, but, you know, it doesn't really matter to me all that much. On the front here, you'd have the Transformers logo, Transformers the movie, Studio Series, his name, Hasbro. Up at the top, we do have a nice artist rendition of Wheelie and his slingshot there, as well as Takara trades and Transformers Generation trades. On the top, Transformers movie. On the side, a nice picture of Wheelie's face there, as well as Studio Series and the Autobot logo. All that stuff down there. On the back, a whole lot of legal jargon, as well as the product shots and 12 steps to convert, as well as our favorite Transformers Authentic, to make sure that this is not a third-party figure. This is a official Hasbro product. But I say it in every single video, you only really care about this stuff if you're a card collector, of which I'm not. I'm here to open these toys and review them, and that is what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze, and yeah, that's... The first thing you're going to notice about this figure is that it is very small. It's my first Core Class figure that I've ever gotten. He's tiny, and I love him. Even though I don't really like Wheelie all that much, he is absolutely adorable, and I do love him. But real quick, before we take a look at Wheelie, let's take a look at his accessory, which is just his sort of Energon, Cybertronian slingshot John that he carries with him. Kind of looks like the ectoplasm detector from Ghostbusters, but it is also definitely Wheelie's slingshot. It's very basic, just done up in gray plastic. A little bit of molded detail on either side of it, but nothing to write home about. It's literally just a piece of plastic. On to Wheelie, however. He is a very tiny, very orange little man. He is so tiny, in fact, that I'm having trouble getting his details in on screen, which is very funny to me, especially on my highest setting of magnification. As you can see, though, with his head, he does have sort of a brimmed hat kind of deal going on there, and a helmet, which is done in that nice light orange cream-ish color, which continues down onto his body where the Autobot sigil can be seen. The rest of him is very, very unpainted orange, except for, you know, the cockpit, which is done in blue, and his feet, which are done in gray. His hands are done in the same silver paint that his face is done in, and I can barely tell what color his eyes are, but I personally, you can't even tell on camera, but I can tell you for certain that they are Autobot blue, very deep blue, not like the light blue we saw with our previous review, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Jazz. He is a tiny little man. As for the size comparison, speaking of Transformers Studio Series 86 Jazz, here is Wheelie next to Transformers Studio Series 86 Jazz. Here he is next to a little Lego minifigure, such as our dear friend Luke Skywalker. And here he is next to the big man himself, Transformers Classics 06 Optimus Prime, who is quite a bit taller than our dear friend Wheelie here. He just towers above everyone on this size comparison, which I find hysterical. But this is, as far as my knowledge goes, quite in scale with the Earthrise / War for Cybertron Siege Optimus mold. So if you want to use that as a size comparison, you can. And anyway, let's get on to the articulation of this guy, then we'll take a look at the transformation freeze frame.
What's the matter, Harvard? You lose the hiney?
No, but he looks like a kid, about 15 years old.
He won't be 16.
Freeze frame unfreeze. So as for the articulation for Wheelie, his head is actually on a tiny, barely even tell. In fact, I didn't even notice the tiniest ball joint in the world that is absolutely limited by the articulation of this figure. But it is a ball joint, which I had no idea. But it is, which is crazy to me. You can essentially just treat it as a swivel, though, because it can only turn 360. Can't really look up anywhere except for with the assisted hinge that there is at the neck for transformation. As for the shoulder, is on a ball joint there, so you can get all the way 360 movement and out all that way. There is also a ball joint at the elbow, so you can get a great range of motion at the elbow. Nothing at the wrists, unfortunately. And nothing really at the waist, considering his waist plugs in for transformation. But you do have nice ball joint at the hips, so you can get a great range of motion on either leg, as well as a ball joint at the knee, and a little piece of toe articulation, even though that is mainly just for transformation. So some great articulation overall for Wheelie, even though they are all essentially just exclusively ball joints, which I find hysterical. Let's do a quick freeze frame and get onto transformation freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. As for the transformation of Wheelie, it's extremely simple. All you got to do really is, at least what I like to do first, is untab his chest here. You can see there's 2 tabs there and 2 holes. Just untab that, and then fold his head all the way back into this recess where his vehicle mode windshield is, and then close that up. Continue folding the chest all the way up, where then you can move to the arms. Make sure the arms are tabbed in like so, and like so. And just keep them straight like this. For now, just straight up to the front. Then you can move down to his legs, and you'll rotate his legs inwards like this, and then extend down this part, his toe. Rotate and extend, and then you can tab in his feet like that, which in turn will cause his legs to kind of move up like that, very close together, because there is a added piece of articulation there just for the transformation, though. And you can fold up the legs, and the sides of the knees will essentially fit right in between this gap, which has been created by his shoulders. So you can just slide that in right like that, and tab it in. This piece, which is previously sitting like that, can then be folded down to form the back of the car. And then his arms can be folded up on this hinge joint, which tabs right into that hole. And then there's a peg right there. Tab that in. And tab that in. And you have a completed vehicle mode. And he is just the tiniest little man. He is so small and so precious. He's a completely science fiction vehicle, which is hysterical to me, but he is cute regardless. There's also, of course, weapon storage. There's a tiny, and I do mean tiny, little hole right there underneath the back of the car, which you can plug the handle of the slingshot into. You might have to untab things a little bit to get them in there, like so. And then you can plug those back in, and that still will not obstruct the wheels. It can still roll like so. For a size comparison, here we have the Studio Series 86 Jazz. Here we have a tiny little Lego minifigure, such as Luke Skywalker. And here we have our old friend Transformers 06 Classics Optimus Prime, and I can't even move him all the way into shot, or else he'll block Wheelie out. He'll completely cover him. So he's just kind of live to the side here. As you can tell, quite a bit larger than everyone else in this frame. and Wheelie is quite a bit smaller. In fact, he kind of looks like a clown car, even for a Lego minifigure. But, yeah, that's that. Anyway, let's get into the final thoughts so I can tell you what I think about Wheelie overall. Freeze frame.
What is a man? What has he got? If not him.
Freeze frame, unfreeze. And, well, what can I really say about Wheelie? He's tiny, and he's cute. And that's all he's good for. Personally, I freaking hate Wheelie. I thought he was the most annoying part of the Transformers 86 film. But he admittedly does stand up pretty well with these newer Transformers Studio Series 86 figures, including, of course, Studio Series Grimlock, who he cannot, unfortunately, perch on. I thought that he'd have at least some sort of hole in between his thighs or something where he could perch on a Grimlock's head, and he can't, which is strange. I checked. Don't know why, for whatever reason, but that's fine, I guess. I was just conned into buying an accessory piece for a figure I already owned, and they aren't even compatible. So, if they were, I could absolutely recommend this figure. As of right now, meh. He's really only going to be a figure you're going to want if you're, for whatever reason, a die-hard fan of Wheelie and or a completionist, of which I am neither. I was actually just a person who bought this on a whim because I thought it was cool, and it was. It's a nice little figure just to dick around with, but it's not exactly the greatest piece of Transformers engineering in the world. It's just kind of going to fill a place on the shelf of my Transformers 86 film figures. And for that reason, I'm going to say maybe get it. He's just kind of alright. You know, he's Wheelie. He's an intermediate figure. This would be a great thing if you're a parent to get for a kid that likes Transformers. Other than that, I could go without, to be completely honest. He's not exactly my cup of tea. But if he is your cup of tea and you really like Wheelie, or you like Transformers 86, or you like Studio Series, or any of these figures that I've been reviewing recently, make sure you share this video with all your friends. Make sure you share with your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. It really helps make this channel grow. It really helps me keep making these videos for you. That's going to be pretty much it for this review, my friends. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, peace.